Developers are starting to meet stiff opposition. As part of BBC Newsline's series on housing issues, our business correspondent Yvette Shapiro reports live from Newcastle in County Down. Yvette, a hot topic in the morns.
It certainly is a major talking point here in the town of Newcastle, as it is in resorts in other parts of Northern Ireland, particularly Bangor and Portstewart, where residents claim that developers are destroying the character of towns. Francis Gorman reports on local feeling here in the morns.
The Church of Ireland rectory's for sale. The current bid is £1.9 million. It'll most likely be demolished for development. It's a lot of money for little land, but typical of what's happening in the town. Not far away is the affluent Tullybrannigan Road. Some residents here are alarmed at proposals for this house. There's a planning application in to demolish it and build 5 apartments on the site. The owners, Ronan and Carolyn McVeigh, say the proposal is fully in accordance with policy guidelines, is sympathetic to the character of the area and will provide much needed housing. But 2 doors down, Vera Neeson's afraid that if planning permission is granted, it will create a domino effect and the houses and the gardens in the area will disappear, changing the character of the area forever.
We like the green trees, we like the hedgerows, we like the wildlife. We do not want to move. We've been happy to rear our families here and we want to stay in the area.
Send out a very clear message to the developers. You have ruined enough of Newcastle already and we want to draw a line in the sand and say no further.
At this meeting arranged by local councillors, there was general angry criticism of both developers and planners.
These people who make these decisions for bad planning to go ahead, who are these people? You know, why aren't they accountable? Why aren't they here tonight?
These gardens are mature, established, and they have plenty of biodiversity, which is a word which appears along with a whole lot of others in one of these planning documents from the Planning Service. I haven't a great deal of time for the Planning Service.
One developer did speak out against the councillors in favour of development.
What you should be doing instead of castigating and ridiculing and ripping the back out of developers for you think that are doing wrong, what you should be doing is rallying the planners and releasing land on the edge of the towns to build houses, social houses for the young people.
The meeting ended with cross-party support for the need to rethink planning policy. Francis Gorman, BBC Newsline, Newcastle.
Well, very strong feelings there at that public meeting in Newcastle. And joining me are 2 men who you may have seen in that report, Eugene Walker, who's a developer, and Jim Wells, the local MLA. Eugene, are you one of these developers that the residents here are saying is destroying the character of the town?
No, not at all. My reason for being at the meeting was that I could win that there was 4 very top high-profile councillors there, so I decided to go along. We're very proud of our history in Newcastle in reference to development, particularly the Branchford Road. We built detached houses and we have a concept for detached houses, semi-detached houses, townhouses and apartments. That is all a concept very much approved by the Planning Service.
But not all of the developments here are meeting with the approval of local people?
No, we absolutely feel that. However, you have to say the reason is not with the developers. The developers at that meeting was seen as evil people. The whole agenda was that we must stop the developers, but that is really what is wrong.
What you're saying to me is that planning policy is to blame here. Jim Wells, I mean, is there any agreement between you and Eugene on this?
Certainly the planning policy allows these apartment developments. I'm not concerned about development per se. What I'm concerned about is the rash of apartment applications which have gone in Newcastle. If they're all approved and subsequently set a precedent for further development, it will destroy what makes Newcastle such a special place.
Eugene, no, I don't agree. Jim at the meeting, and this is what infuriated me at the meeting was that it come across that this development that was currently under view was some kind of a precedent. The precedent for apartment development was set a long time ago. Not only was it set in other parts of the north of Ireland, but as far back as 1999, the Minister of the Regional Development decided that development would have to move to all the towns, and this was backed by all the MLAs and all the councillors.
Well, Jim Wells, you are an MLA. What pressure are you going to bring to bear on this if you feel so strongly?
I think the policy should be changed to encourage low-density housing and not apartments. They bring nothing to a town, they destroy communities, and I know that if this particular application goes through, lots of developers are queuing up with checkbooks to buy more houses, to knock them down, and to build nothing more than rabbit hutches on top of gardens, and that is going to do nothing for Newcastle.
We know for a fact that is
we'll have to wind you up there. We're losing time, but thank you very much indeed, both of you. And as you can see, no real agreement here, and certainly amongst residents and developers in the town, absolutely no agreement. Back to the studio.